glad to see you again. And this month I've got a special treat for you, a gift if you like. And that is I've asked my friend Dana Trent to come along and share some of her background and interests with you. Dana is the author of Saffron Cross. Now she writes a lot of other things, and one of the things she tells me she writes is grant applications, and you know how difficult those are. Anyway, Dana is also an adjunct professor at the Art Institute in Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina. She is a relatively newlywed with only 6 years under her belt, and she tells me her husband Fred is an IT guy. Dana's going to be exploring with you the meaning of Sabbath and what Sabbath means to you as well. It's going to be a really interesting and relevant month for you. So I invite you to settle in and join in and come to the Lord with a new look at the meaning of Sabbath. Thanks, Dana.
Thanks so much, Pat. Welcome, everyone. I'm so glad you're here. This month, we're going to be talking about Sabbath. So my first question for you is, what does Sabbath mean to you? If you hear these words from Exodus 20, verse 8, you hear, remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. But what does that mean to remember, and what does it mean to keep it holy? I first started asking these questions of myself when I wrote Saffron Cross. And in the book, I've got an entire chapter dedicated to Sabbath keeping, because at the time I was trying to figure out, how do you keep Sabbath with someone who practices a different faith tradition? So that's what we're going to be looking at this month. What does it mean to you? What did it mean to me? My Sabbath journey continued when my husband and I went to Costa Rica to spend 9 days at a remote monastery. There was only jungle, animals, and monks around. And so for those 9 days, we did nothing but rest and worship and read scripture and serve alongside the monks. It was wonderful. And the entire time I just kept saying to myself, this is Sabbath. This is Sabbath. And on the plane ride home, I had a really sad feeling because I thought, how am I going to replicate this feeling of Sabbath that I've had for 9 days at home? Our city is so busy. There's so much traffic. Everyone's working constantly. It's a 24/7 culture. You know that feeling, the constant vying for your attention. And so when we got home, I thought, how can I recreate the Costa Rican monastic experience? And so my husband and I had been to the monastery at Advent, and Lent was coming up. And we made a vow to practice Sabbath keeping that Lent. And so for every Sunday, we turned off the computers, we turned off our phones, we didn't text, we didn't answer the phone. We only went to church. We only read scripture. We only reconnected with God. And some Sundays went really well. And some Sundays were hard. And you know that feeling. I know you do. And so this month, I want you to think about what Sabbath means to you and what meaningful rituals you want to create around Sabbath, whether it's rest or simply ceasing from work or unplugging, reconnecting with God. I want you to think about that. And it could be that you work on Saturdays and Sundays. It could be that you can't practice Sabbath on Sunday. Think about a time during the week when you can have your Sabbath time, your quiet space. And as you reflect on it this month, I want you to keep in mind all the little devices that we carry around with us. And remember when they say, low battery, must plug in, that's you. That's how you feel at the end of a busy week when you've got to recharge, you've got to plug in, you've got to reconnect with your source. So this month, think about how you want to do that. Think about how you want to practice Sabbath. Thanks so much for joining us.